This is a demo that shows you how you can use StrikeIron Kapow Web Data Services to connect any web data to your business applications. If you found yourself sitting cutting and pasting from a web browser into an Excel spreadsheet, or asking somebody from your IT department, I really need access to these data in my business intelligence application or data mining tool, then this is the demo you want to look at. What I'm going to show here is how I can go to Microsoft Money, where they have a listing of new IPO filings, and basically turn that into a REST interface that can be accessed programmatically from any business application or business intelligence tool. The way we access the data is with something we call Kapow robots, and I'll show how you build a Kapow robot. In this example, accessing IPO data, but you can think about the Kapow robot can access any data on the web. It can be your competitors' pricing information on their website. It can be financial research data from your Hoover's account. It can be government filings, or anything you see in a web browser, even behind security, even behind logins, can now be accessed automatically. So let's see how we do this. Let me switch to a browser. Here we have the MSN Money website, and I actually just here clicked on the New Filings tab. And what I'd like to do is to extract the new filings here, get the data out, the name, the URL, the industry, and turn it into a REST service. The way I turn this website into a REST service is by using Kapow RoboMaker. You can think of RoboMaker as a web browser that actually remembers what you're doing. So instead of you browsing and cutting and pasting every day, you can actually instruct RoboMaker how you want to interact with a website, how you want to navigate it, and how you want to extract the data. So let's try to build a REST service. I click on the New Robots button up here, and I say I'd like to make a REST service like this. Then let me go to the website and pull over the URL and paste it in here and hit next. Then you can decide to have input values, like if this was logging into your account, you would have to have a username and a password as input, but in this case I just want to extract the information. So I'll just have output values, and the output values I was thinking about here would be like the filing date. I don't know if I can spell this right. The input, so let me specify the input parameters. I would like to have like filing date, name, proposed ticker, industry, and finally the URL to the filing post. So now we defined what kind of data we're extracting out, and let's see what happens. Okay, so now we have loaded the page, and we can see the page here. What we're doing is building a script, a visual script that will actually instruct RoboMaker how to navigate and extract data out of this website. So what we can see up here, we already have two steps in our script. The first one is the load page. That's actually loading the page. And the last one is actually just returning the data, but there's no data yet. So what we want to do now is to click on, for example, the first row here, then right click and say I'd like to loop over the table rows like this. And now we can see how it actually automatically made a loop over the table rows. We can go to the bottom, and we can actually now see there is an empty row at the bottom. We can also see that every second row is empty, and we can also see at the top there is 2 empty rows. So we can go back to the loop here and specify we actually like to start from number 2 from the top. We'll want to skip the last row and want to increment by 2 every time. So now we actually got the right loop, and we can see how it actually loops through the data. What we do now is we want to extract the data. So I can basically just click on this title here and I can say extract text into my name. And if you're looking down here at the data model, we'll actually see the name has been extracted, and then we loop through the rows, we'll actually see the new names. And this is actually showing one of the most powerful thing about RoboMaker, that you're actually seeing the data in the middle of building your robot. There's no other product that can really do this. Typically what you do is you develop a script or an agent, and then you run it and see if the result is okay. Here you're actually running and examining the result in the middle of developing it, which is making this very, very productive. Now let us extract some more information. We would like to extract this URL, so we can say extract URL into my URL. Let us extract the ticker mark, proposed ticker. And we can actually see here that the proposed ticker has some parentheses around it. If we go back one row, we can see there's a real ticker mark. And we really like to get rid of these parentheses. So this is where the RoboMaker have a lot of the built-in transformation capabilities. So what I'd like to do here is just doing some extraction of text. I can go in here and what I'm doing here I'll actually build a regular expression. So I'll say I have some parentheses, and then actually everything within normal parentheses is what I will be extracting. And then we'll end it like this. So you can see how it removed the parentheses. If regular expressions and so is not really your strong part, there's always context-sensitive online help. You can click on this, and it gives you help with examples and everything. I can click on the patterns here. You can see exactly how you do this. Now back to finish building the robot. What we want to do now is extracting the industry. And the last thing we'd like to do is extract the date. Now again we can see the date here really doesn't have a year on it. So we can go back and say I really like to use a date extractor. And I can configure that to say it's months and day like this, and it automatically extends the year. What else I could do is go up and extract this year here and append that in, so we can also deal with year end and so on. But I'll leave that for you to play with. So now we are done, and we can actually scroll up and down the list and see the data coming down here. There's also a built-in debugger where I can go and actually just run this script and see how it works. We can now see the data returning, and we have actually the 7 listings here. What I can do now is I can deploy this as a REST service on the StrikeIron. So I want to save this, and I can say get IPO. I can give it a name, IPO listing. I can save it, and I can now deploy it like get IPO listing. I can give it some tag names, IPO, and so on, and I can publish it. And now the service is ready to use. So let's go to the website, the StrikeIron Kapow Web Data Services website, and we can see our service here, and we can actually now run it. So if I click here, it will actually run it, and now it's actually executing the robot we just built and returning the data. So here we have the data in XML format. If I rather want to have the data in like CSV format for Excel, I can get that, and this would be directly you can import this directly into Excel spreadsheet. So this concludes how you build a robot that turns a website into data that you can access from your business applications, your Excel spreadsheet, your data mining tool, and so on. Thank you for listening.